First video, we're looking at the myth of a white minority. New York Times article. First, it starts off 2012. It's talking about the non-white birth rates exceeding whites for the first time. 2013, more whites dying than being born. And that projection we all know about, non-Hispanic whites being minority by 2044. Now it's going on to nitpick and try and say that we're wrongly defining something, even though it's kind of wrong in its premise. We don't define minority as anybody non-white. We define minority as a mathematical thing. You know, you're less. I mean, you know, you have a lesser percentage. Now, anyway, they were talking about how many people are of mixed heritage, which hasn't got crap to do with crap in this. And let's see here. They're trying to make the case that because there will be part white people that we won't lose our majority, but that's not how this works. You know, you have nucleotide DNA and mitochondrial DNA. One comes exclusively from your mother, and the other half comes, or one half of the other half comes from your father. So I mean, you can lose that. You can lose a part of what makes you in passing on to the next generation. So it's you know their premise is wrong. A half something is not a whole something. They're saying something about how our on-the-ground understanding of race and ethnicity becomes more fluid. No, we understand race and ethnicity pretty damn good. No, it seems to understand is getting worse. You know, like, we know so little, you could shove whatever the hell you want in our heads. Look at this. Take, for example, the claim that minority babies are now the majority. No, that's true. It's not a claim. Look at a kindergarten classroom. Look at this. Found that it identified only about half infants as non-Hispanic whites, though 60% had at least one non-Hispanic white parent. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Doesn't raise the numbers at all. Being half something isn't being all something. Among infants with a Hispanic parent, 30% also had a non-Hispanic parent. That doesn't matter. That's just saying that many are half. That doesn't discount whites becoming a minority. That doesn't discount anything. And I was talking about the one drop rule. Just, you know, technically horse shit. I mean, look at the haplotype maps. We developed between Asians and Africans. Now, that's not a phenotype. We didn't look the way we do now, but when our genes came about, we were stuck halfway between those two, and then we left. So I mean, you can't say that any of us are completely without a drop of African blood. We've all got that, so they could shut the fuck up about that. Look at this little bit of stupidity. 60% of multiracial Americans, in fact, do not consider themselves multiracial, but identities are socially constrained. That is, they are part products of the way others see us and not just our free choice. You don't get to choose what you are. You're born what you are. You could choose what you do, or you could choose to kind of modify your color a little bit, get a tan, pale up, whatever. But race is not a choice. It's not a choice. You can't be half black and decide to be white or to be black. You're not actually either. I mean, you're not actually either. Ask the Sabines. You know, except you can't find any to ask because they were raped by the ancestors of the Romans. You know, the Sabines are gone. It doesn't matter that they had children, because only the women had children. The men, they died. The Sabines are gone. Now, half something isn't a whole something. You don't call Italians half Sabine because they're not. They're not. Now this one's dubious. About 60% of multiracial Americans who have some black ancestry report discrimination by restaurants or other businesses. If it was just restaurants, this could be legitimate, but or other businesses? Now, what could they mean by that? You know, maybe somebody got mad that they didn't get hired. You know, because if it's just restaurants, then you know they didn't let them eat, and you know that would be consistent to test. But throwing that in with other business, you know, that could just be angry people angry about not getting hired. You know, I get angry about not getting hired. Oh, now this is a pile of horseshit. Some of the mixed children now classified as minorities will surely think of themselves mainly as whites when they grow up. No. How many of you have ever noticed a half black or quarter black who thought of himself as white? I mean, sometimes they talk white. I mean, that's or talk proper or whatever. That's one thing, but it's not that usual to go and align yourself with the other race. I mean, you know, technically speaking, they don't belong to either race. You can go with maybe they more closely align to whichever race calibrated their hormones for their gonadostat feedback loop or something like that, but you know, half race isn't a race. It's like mestizos. They're not a race. You know, they're the results of a race dying. They're the results of a race being raped. They're not a race. It's not that they're not people, it's just that they're not a homogenous race, you know. Build a wall around them and let them mix in for 1,000 years, and then, you know, maybe they'd be one. But they're not right now. Okay, now here's the biggest piece of bullshit in here. We are becoming a more diverse society, but not a post-racial one. For that reason, we cannot abandon ethno-racial categories. They register legacies of slavery, conquest, and oppression that have enduring effects. They are still useful to measure and redress inequalities. So let's think about this bigoted horse crap they just said here. They're saying that when there's no whites left, when there's only remnants of whites, half whites, quarter whites, you know, they're saying that those people are going to be hated like us, that those people are going to have to pay reparations. Why do they still need a handout? I mean, come on, if you manage to outbreed all whites, you're going to take the people who are the most white at that point and then make them pay you? Why? How the fuck can that be? How can that be right? It's some fucked up shit. Seriously fucked up shit. Okay, on to... Or that was my first written article here to review. Now on to this video here. This is circulating around Facebook under a completely different title. It's a title more like Trump's so racist he won't shake a black guy's hand. But look here. Notice purple sleeves, gray coat. This guy is a verger. His duty is to carry this pole here. Now, he isn't supposed to shake hands because he has a secondary role. Now let's watch this for a sec. See, this guy's white. Now let's watch this. See, Trump's shaking the hands of the people he's supposed to shake. If Trump's shaking, he's shaking. But nope, he's not shaking the verger. Because he's not supposed to shake the verger's hand. Now, anyway, the clip running around Facebook has the first 10 or so seconds cut out of it. So, it's understandable that they might get it wrong. But anyway, it's easy enough to look up. We all got YouTube. Now, well, tell me what you think. This was Melodious Offal. And I'll thumbs up the comment of anybody who knows where my name came from. Melodious Offal.